Hello, everybody, and welcome to Non Sequitur News for April 22nd, 2025. It's Season 4, Episode 112. I am Mayor Watt. I run ohmtown.com. Sentient AI isn't here today. This is Season 4, Episode 112. 112 already. Years ripping by. Today we're going to be talking about GoFundMe to help a band. Uber drove off with a child. Are plane issues more common? Nissan dealership gets sued by Nissan. Okay. Making chess accessible. A caterpillar hummingbird. Bethesda drops Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. It's actually, I'm calling it Oblivion Reborn, but we'll end up talking about it. Get paid not to use Google. FDA to phase out certain dyes, and FDA issues an alert about fake Ozempic. That and more. Powered by ohmtown.com. Go over there and become a citizen. All right, folks. Let's get going. We've got 10 articles. Sentient AI isn't here today, but you can still come and hang out with me. I know it's not as much fun without the sentient AI from the future. But if you type in !NSN in the chat, you'll be able to get the show notes. Man, right when I kicked off, it became a zoo out here. And I cannot believe this yet again. I don't know what to do. I'm going to have to move my studio out of the mayoral mansion or something. All right. Well, anyway. Cancer Bats launched GoFundMe after their gear and merch were stolen during their U.S. tour. It says it's a tragic tale as old as time. A band sets off on tour hoping to bring joy and fun to as many people as they can, only to be ripped off by some low-life assholes. I agree. I don't know about as old as time, but like if Jennifer's Body is any kind of documentary about what happens with bands, come on. I mean, maybe somebody was sacrificing somebody? No, I don't know. Anyway, the Canadian fellas, it says in this article's little snippet, Cancer Bats are dealing with this firsthand right now, which isn't the first time that we've actually heard about, not the band, but the fact that somebody's stuff was stolen. I'm always astonished by this. Oh my God. You know what? I'm doing it live. I'm going to do this. I don't care. I cannot believe that I'm living this dream right now. It's kind of a nightmare, but okay. You know what? Don't care. One person show today. Got to do everything. All right. So hello again. Cancer Bats is currently out opening for He Is Legend, and in a post on the new GoFundMe campaign, the band experienced this theft after their Indiana show on Monday night. They woke up to the harsh reality that all of their stuff was taken, and I think that it sucks, and the people that stole their stuff are real... Well, they're asshats, but I have more words for them. But anyway, Stephen Andrew Gallagher over at Vice.com put the article together. When I saw this submitted, I said, I got to talk about it. This isn't the first time that we here at ohmTown have heard of a band's, all of their equipment being stolen. Cancer Bats is currently opening for He Is Legend. All of their stuff was apparently stolen. Luckily, their van was recovered, but the thieves made off with all of their equipment, merchandise, and some personal items. I feel like I've talked about this exact thing before. They even stole the catalytic converter off of the van. Major bummer, and only 4 days into their full month tour in the United States. What a welcome. And I'm sure whoever it was that did this, if there were like stickers on there, then they were sitting there going, well, they're Canadian, it doesn't matter, or something like that. You sociopath assholes. But in this robbery, we lost a lot of equipment, they say, that they hold near and dear to their hearts. Equipment that helped them out a lot on their songs. Stuff that has been customized by them over the years. Gear that's not easily replaceable. So Everybody look on eBay and look on Facebook pages for people, some asshole selling stuff. And just remind these people that they're selling stolen goods, and if they bought it from somebody, they received stolen goods. So just come forward and give up the stuff. Just give it back, and quit being assholes. So in addition to all their gear and transport, the Cancer Bats also lost a large order of merchandise. They had ordered enough to make sure that they had plenty for all 27 shows that they had on tour, and they only played 4. So a lot of that stuff was in the trailer. Luckily, the LPs were in the van, and for some reason the thieves didn't want those bad boys. Yeah, total losers is indeed. So they're estimating replacing everything will cost 30,000 Canadian once the tour is over, and we can replace all the stolen gear and find out what insurance will give us if there is any money left over. They plan to donate the remaining money to get good quality musical instruments to kids living in hard to reach northern communities in Canada. Well, that's mighty kind of them. If anything is left over. All right. Our next article is over in Four Wheel Tech. Uber drove off with a child, and a $7 credit was its apology. The mother and daughter eventually reconnected, but without any help from Uber. Uber is, I don't know, too big to fail, I guess. I don't know. Rideshare services. Oh, so Ryanair and King over at Jalopnik put this article together. Rideshare services are supposed to offer affordable rides for the convenience of a smartphone app. However, a Toronto woman discovered last month that rideshares can go wrong after an Uber driver pulled away from her boyfriend's home with their 5-year-old daughter sleeping in the back row. The mother and daughter eventually reconnected, but without any help from Uber. The incident shed light on the bureaucratic nightmare lurking on the other side of the touchscreen when genuine emergencies strike. So how this all happened, the daughter had fallen asleep during the ride, so they decided to get their 3 sons inside first, along with their car seats and coats. And when the mother came back, the daughter was gone, as was the car, and the daughter was in the back. Still asleep, apparently? I don't know. It's impossible to describe the panic. So Uber promises that safety is its top priority, despite the evidence to the contrary. It says here in the article, without Uber's help, it took Toronto police 90 minutes to find the vehicle 12 miles away. Police stated that the driver was completely unaware that there was a 5-year-old girl in the back. The police drove Julia to reconnect with the daughter, and she was thankfully unharmed. For the ordeal, Uber sent her boyfriend a $7 credit. So that apparently is, I don't know, they lost their tip, I guess, to Uber. They just gave back the $7 tip. I don't know. I have no idea. Anyway, let's keep on going. I'm going to churn through this. This next article is over on the Mobile Channel. Passengers forced to evacuate plane on tarmac after engine fire. I just don't understand it. Maybe it's just because it keeps on happening with regularity, and so it's still something that people will click on. And it hasn't really been driven into the ground yet, but airplane issues seem to just be a constant. It used to be trains. I heard about trains a lot, mainly because they were like allergic to their tracks, but apparently planes are just allergic to themselves. Passengers aboard a Delta flight had quite a Delta flight had quite a scare. On April 21st, a plane's engine caught fire as it was pushed back from the gate at an Orlando International Airport. Not sure why my music just turned off. Yeah, it's really quiet. What's going on? Oh, I don't know. Hold on. Let's see if I can do this. I'm doing it live. All right. So, per FAA, passengers aboard Delta Flight 1213 were forced to evacuate the aircraft after using slides amid the engine fire. It was a little scary, they say, just never had happened to them before. They started thinking, okay, what are the next steps? Well, you get off the plane. So they deboarded quickly. But I hear that flying today is pretty hot. Paige Gawley over at Vice.com put the article together. Another unnamed passenger told the local CBS affiliate that it sounded like a large thump. We thought it was probably someone was putting luggage under the plane or something, but what they saw was an orange flash, and I guess the rest is history. The airplane told the outlet that 282 passengers were aboard the plane when the fire broke out. No one was injured during the fire or the resulting evacuation, and flight crews followed procedure, so everybody was safe. They plan to get the passengers to their final destinations, which probably should never be used since the movies exist still, on other aircrafts while maintenance teams examine the plane on which the fire broke out. Yeah, hopefully it didn't do any damage to the wing. Let's keep going though. This next article is over on 4 Wheel Tech. It's one of our many shows. Nissan sues its own dealership for failure to pay $3.4 million in vehicle deliveries. Nissan North America has had enough of being jerked around by the one New Jersey Infiniti dealership, this one in particular. Andy Kolmowitz over at jalopnik.com put the article together. Federal lawsuit says that Infiniti of Englewood failed to pay Nissan North America over $3.4 million for 64 vehicles it delivered to the dealer last fall, according to Automotive News. If you know anything about New Jersey, you know you've got to kick up to the guys upstairs. That's part of our thing, it says here. Not sure what that's all about, but the dealership apparently sold 61 out of the 64 vehicles by the time the complaint was filed on March 27th. And in the lawsuit, the Japanese lawmaker says that the store failed to use the sales proceeds to repay Nissan. It also alleges a breach of contract and unjust enrichment. Well, that's what it means when you fail to repay a debt that you owe for items like this. You know, I mean, this is actual physical property, and they sold it. Wow. So it also alleges this this breach of contract, which is the thing that if you don't pay back, you know, you kind of get sued for everything. So I suspect unless this dealership has it sitting there making copious amounts of money somewhere else, and even then, you're not supposed to invest your revenue if it's meant for somewhere else. You're supposed to put it in different accounts and stuff like that, but maybe it's different in New Jersey. I don't know. Nissan North America isn't just going for the dealer either. It also alleges that the co-defendant, Keystone Auto Lending, is contractually liable for not paying Nissan, which is interesting. Well, as it turns out, both Infiniti of Englewood and Keystone Lending are owned by the same person, the complaint says, and it describes Charles here. I'm not going to name their... It says a real New Jersey name, if they've ever heard one. I'm not even going to bother saying it out loud. For legal reasons, I cannot understand that the person named in the suit is not named personally as a defendant, but it does say that he was funding his own dealership and caused the breaches by both the dealer and Keystone. That's some serious compartmentalization, even if it is a corporation. Maybe they don't want to bother trying to pierce the veil just yet. It says we've told you about how a dealer owner was suing the Japanese automaker for opening a new store too close to it. And but Jalopnik has also talked about how North Carolina is filing 400 charges against Nissan dealership employees. And who can forget the time Nissan asked dealers to lose money on sales by using discounts? Never change, Nissan. Never change. This is a really fun article, and got to go over to jalopnik.com and read it for yourself. Andy Kolmowitz put it together. So the little snippet that we get here is Duolingo. What? Go away. Oh my goodness. So make chess as accessible as possible. Duolingo's next move is teaching users how to play chess. Duolingo is a language app, but now it says it's debuting a chess course complete with short puzzles and mini matches. The author is over at entrepreneur.com. Sharon Shibu put the article together, and it says here, want to join 600 million people worldwide who play chess? Duolingo, the popular language learning app known for its gamified short lesson format, announced on Tuesday that it started early tests of a new chess course. The course will roll out to all learners on Duolingo's iPhone app in English in the coming weeks, with broader plans to reach more in different languages in the coming months. Chess is Duolingo's first subject since the company added a music course in 2023. but it had been focusing on language. The app will teach users how each piece moves and take them through gamified exercises, including short chess puzzles to help them learn how to strategize and play the game. Users will also have mini matches that are just a couple of minutes long and longer full-length games against a virtual character named Oscar, who acts as a chess coach for all of the lessons. Dun, dun, dun. All right, let's keep going. The next article is over in Technology Today. Caterpillar or hummingbird, bizarre baby bird discovery stuns scientists in Panama, but I swear I've seen something similar to this. A white-necked Jacobin chick may use mimicry or camouflage to avoid predators resembling a caterpillar with fluffy feathers. Some scientific discoveries take years of research. Others begin with a simple, curious observation. And as Jay Falk, a U.S. National Science Foundation postdoctoral fellow working in the at the University of Colorado Boulder and the Smithsonian Tropical Research Facility, has found out that just looking around, you can actually find that's a little hummingbird right there. A newly hatched white-necked Jacobin chick. But it looks like a kind of dried out caterpillar to me. Smithsonian Tropical Research Institute is where this article is stemming from. SciTechDaily.com is where it was published, but Jay's been studying these white-necked Jacobins, a neotropical hummingbird, for over a decade. So his focus has always been on adults. Apparently, he just discovered this, but looking at this for 10 years? Come on now. Something's weird. Something's up. The nest held a single egg and a dedicated female. And since it was the first nest of this species that they had encountered, the team decided to monitor it through its regular visits. They also brought in videographer Joe C., which is an awesome name for a videographer, to help document what unfolded. Jay had previously discovered that about 20% of females in this species mimic males in appearance, likely to gain better access to food. Chick's mother was one of these female lookalikes. But I'm going to hit play on this. It's going to be muted, but there is a chick, but I don't know if it's the chick. It's a caterpillar-like baby hummingbird discovered in Panama. Oh yeah, look at that. That's a lot bigger and hairier than the one that they had up there. Maybe that's where it starts out, and then yeah, it looks like a caterpillar. So what they show here is one stage of it, but I guess it looks like this at some point, or close to this, is what they're saying, that it resembles this. Which, if that's true, I don't know how dangerous that caterpillar is, but yeah, I've actually seen this before. We've talked about this, but in a different context, a different article altogether. I think either that or there's another hummingbird that we talked about, or bird that mimics these caterpillars. So the egg had hatched and a tiny baby hummingbird had emerged. Scott noticed something highly unusual. The chick had long, fluffy down feathers on its back that made it look remarkably like a venomous caterpillar. Yep. And that's what it's all about. This mimicry of this really hairy looking caterpillar. It's very, very dangerous when it's touched. Nonetheless, the team was lucky enough to observe a carnivorous wasp nearby the chick. While the chick appeared to shake its head upwards, moving it just like the caterpillars do in the presence of a potential predator, they explain that because the predation rates are very high in hummingbird chicks, and because white-necked Jacobins build a cup-like nests in exposed branches near the ground, strategies like mimicry and camouflage, or maybe both, might have evolved in the species. And it's really interesting because why would this trait keep on amplifying to the point where it becomes a survival trait? How did it get there in the first place? You know, it's not like a species has the ability to look around and go, oh, I'm going to make myself look like that, you know, genetically, at the genetic level. So how does that actually happen? I find it kind of fascinating. Yeah, tropical forests are full of mysteries and discoveries waiting to be made. That stuff needs funding. That stuff doesn't typically get funded by private investment altogether. And when it is, then it gets buried somewhere unless it's actionable and turned into a product or service or a medication or something like that. And Yep. Pay attention, everybody. The next article is, we're going to change tack real quick. It's over in the mobile channel. Bethesda, it does not shadow drop. We knew about this a couple of days ago. And other people were hinting at it before then. The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion remastered. Get it on Game Pass and PS5 now. You can actually get it on Steam as well. Bethesda surprised fans by releasing Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered immediately after its announcement stream. However, Xbox players are in for an even bigger treat. Its much anticipated RPG is now available through Game Pass. No, seriously, you can literally go get it right now. Yep, you can also buy it on Steam right now. It's $50 though. $60 if you want, I guess, the a more involved edition. It has more stuff. The article is put together by Brent Cope. I'm not sure how they pronounce their last name, but it's at vice.com. But play with Game Pass or buy it for $50. So it says, yeah, the remake really, it says, yeah, you're reading that right. The remake is really only $50. No, the real remake is $50. The next tier up is $60. There is no tier higher than that, at least not that I know of, at least not yet. From completely overhauling the game's graphics and combat mechanics to meticulously reworking dialogue and adding dialogue, as a matter of fact, based on what I've heard, it's clear that this was more than just a visual upgrade. I agree. While the remake was handled by a secondary studio, Bethesda clearly put a lot of care into making sure that the 20-year-old game was faithfully recreated while also being modernized. It looks pretty good. I think the AI is still Bethesda AI. Oblivion's remake was leaked earlier, so people really did know, I think. At least I certainly knew that it was on the horizon. I'm not sure why they dropped it so fast, but I guess it was ready for prime time. Says the author says that they still need to play it. I have not played Oblivion in so long. I am oblivious to it. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll end up getting it and playing it too, but I just don't know. The graphics look good. The sound effects were pretty good. The soundstage was pretty good. Although I was watching one stream on Twitch play it, and there were audio glitches from time to time. But let's keep on going. This next article is over in Technology Today. It's one of our shows on Sundays. The government wants you to get paid not to use Google search. A novel experiment suggests that Google's monopoly can be tamed with habit-altering tactics, like, I don't know, paying somebody? A novel experiment, it's posted over at the Washington Post, which I'm not logged into, so we'll see how far this actually goes. Monopoly can be tamed with habit-altering tactics. Government authorities are trying to make it happen. A group of researchers says that it's identified a hidden reason why we use Google for nearly all the web searches. We've never given other options a real shot. Yeah, and that's because it is frictionless. It's easily obtained. And the results from Bing are laughable compared to the results from Google. And depending on what I search for, I don't even need search anymore. I'll just use an AI. The research experiment suggests that Google is overwhelmingly popular, partly because we believe it's the best, whether it's true or not. It's like a preference for your favorite soda. No. People drink their soda because they like their soda. If they were given other options and they liked them, then they would switch. But everybody is given every search engine option. You can go and use DuckDuckGo if you want, or Bing, or whatever. The problem is that everybody uses Google because you get paid to use Google for tracking. When you track, you use AdSense and AdWords. And so coupled together, it's a seamless partnership where I can post ads. I can't post ads on ohmTown, by the way. But if you have a website, you put in AdSense and AdWords, you start generating revenue, and you are tracked at the same time, all for free. The search that I use on ohmTown actually costs me money. So and that may or may not help me with Google. In fact, I've kind of removed everything Google from ohmTown. I might just make it so that you can log in again via the third-party solutions like Apple and Google and others, but including Patreon. We had it for a little while, but nobody was using it. Anyway, little inside baseball there. Let's keep going though. I've known that this is probably going to be showing up here. I didn't think that it would happen during this administration, but FDA to phase out dyes used in Flamin' Hot Cheetos, Skittles, and other snacks. It's over at the Hatch Ideas channel because it's all about business, and I talk about strategic marketing and strategic consulting, intellectual property, things like that. Anyway, FDA is phasing out the use of petroleum-based synthetic dyes in foods and drinks, and if you didn't know this, a lot of your colorant is made by a synthetic dye, petroleum-based synthetic dye. And Amelia Lucas over at CNBC put the article together. The policy change will hit food and drink companies like PepsiCo, General Mills, and WK Kellogg, although really the fact is that these artificial dyes have been replaced in the EU for some time now. I'm speaking of red, in particular, red 40, red 30. But we'll see. The fluorescent red of Flamin' Hot Cheetos, the brilliant teal of Mountain Dew Baja Blast, which was supposed to be phased out already, or already directed to be phased out, and the colorful rainbow of Skittles may soon be dimmed. And that's really the main thing here. This is all about the vibrancy of the color. So for the past 50 years, American children have increasingly been living in a toxic soup of synthetic chemicals, not to mention toxic other things. Food and beverage companies, well, that toxicity. Anyway, let me just keep talking about this. Red dye number 40 to give cereal, chips, sports drinks, and other products bright hues that attract shoppers. But backlash against artificial colorants has been brewing in the U.S. for more than a decade. True. In fact, though, I have an enterprise that uses that red 40, but I can't get the European version of the red dye because that's not allowed in the United States. So, and there is no domestic solution that isn't red 40. Because like orange 3 or something like that was deemed carcinogenic a while back. So as of Tuesday, the FDA and the food industry don't have a formal agreement to remove artificial dyes, but instead an understanding. There are a number of tools at their disposal. They believe in love. Let's start in a friendly way. And are you freaking kidding me? That's how people are. I believe in love. Let's start in a friendly way and see if we can do this without any statutory or regulatory change. Yes, because business really seeks to do something that's more expensive, more friction bound, and might harm their bottom line because they have to retool, et cetera, et cetera. No. I don't think that that's how it's really going to happen. But anyway, and they want to do it. So why go down a complicated road with Congress? Because it's not going to happen any other way. The FDA is taking several actions, including setting up a national standard and timeline for the food industry to transition. But this right here, setting up a national standard, setting up a food industry to transition from petroleum-based food dyes to natural alternatives. That is the moving away from a discussion into regulatory changes. I mean, it's so... Anyway, it says the F in FDA stands for food, he said. Macri, apparently. Now, there's no one ingredient that accounts for the chronic disease epidemic. And let's be honest, taking petroleum-based food dyes out of the food supply is not a silver bullet that will instantly make America's children healthy, but it is an important step. Right. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what they think is going to happen, but we'll see. Just pay attention, follow the money. Previously, pushback from consumer advocates led to some of the companies tweak their formulas and drop artificial dyes without any government intervention. In 2015, Kraft Heinz changed the recipe of its trademark mac and cheese to use the same natural colors found in the European version of the product. But the changes don't always stick. In 2017, General Mills reversed course, putting its artificial colored trick cereal back on the shelves. The naturally dyed cereal, which uses turmeric, radishes, and purple carrots, is not as vibrant, and customers rejected the new version. I'm not sure about the flavor difference, but I don't know about rejected the new version as opposed to saw the generic version on the shelf and bought that instead, because, well, if they're going to pay a premium for tricks, it better be brighter, better be looking better, etc., etc. Yeah, so we'll see. I think that there's a lot of stupid things that are heading our way, so we'll see what happens. There's more over at this article, but I'll let you all read it. The next article and our last one for today's April 22nd, 2025 Non Sequitur news is about Ozempic. FDA issues alert on fake Ozempic this time. We've talked about these alerts before because basically people are making it in their basement or something. I don't know. Not to mention that formularies are just making their own brew. That's a close approximate, but it isn't. Be careful. The FDA is warning consumers to avoid counterfeit Ozempic products tied to specific lot and serial numbers. So you're going to have to start looking it up. So look for the changes, the difference here between a legit version and the bad version. Ed Cara over at Gizmodo.com put this article together. FDA and Ozempic manufacturer Novo Nordisk jointly issued an alert about the fake Ozempic last week. We've done this before. We've talked about this before here in ohmTown. According to the alert, Novo Nordisk first notified the FDA about the counterfeit drugs on April 3rd, which were distributed outside the company's authorized supply chain in the U.S. The FDA says that it managed to seize some of the drugs on April 9th. The products can be identified by a combination of lot number PAR0362, an authentic lot, and a serial number starting with the first 8 digits 51746519, not authentic. The counterfeits are specifically labeled as 1 milligram doses of Ozempic, which was approved to treat type 2 diabetes. Since the approval of Novo Nordisk's Wegovy, a higher dose formulation of the same active ingredients, semaglutide, approved for obesity in 2021, Ozempic has become a popular off-label medication for weight loss as well. So they've received 6 adverse event reports connected to this specific lot of Ozempic, all submitted by Novo Nordisk, because this is the same thing that I have a problem with regarding like if somebody works on their own device and everything melts down, nobody goes, oh yeah, I totally did that. Or I bought no, they go straight to who they believe is the source of the material and they blame them wholeheartedly. But this is actually fraudulent. Faux products actually contain insulin, and several users were hospitalized, which is very dangerous. With insulin overdoses as a result. The FDA also noted in 2023 that the needles used to inject these drugs were counterfeit as well, raising the risk of improper sterilization. So it looks like, we talked about this before as well. This isn't the first time that counterfeit Ozempic has reached the public. In 2023. They had a similar problem. I don't know about the full back end of this, like if this is just something that is continuing, because I don't know what the lot numbers actually translate into. So just be careful out there. If you have a batch of Ozempic that starts with 51746517, then don't use it. Go get it checked. Go talk to your doctor. call up Novo Nordisk and file a complaint. You might have to wait until they send you a replacement batch, but at least it's on the radar and they'll be able to triangulate who it is that was distributing this stuff. And either you're going to throw it out because you don't want to get caught up in the investigation, or you use it and it costs you some segment of your health or entirely your life if you're susceptible to insulin in particular. Anyway, that is it for today's Non Sequitur news. I am Mayor Watt, and I'm ending the show. I'd take the AI with me, but they're already outie. So see y'all later.